Hello, 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 my darlings. Thank you for joining me on A Slice of Life, A Slice of Life. Well, I traveled because my son-in-law son passed away, and the funeral was today, Tuesday. And I didn't bring my book, didn't bring, I don't know what was going on with me. I was just trying to see about family and what we needed to do. And so, if you join me for the first time, let me apologize. This Slice of Life is about getting older without getting old. We have our book and we have, props and so many things that I have with me normally that I don't have with me during this period. So, all week, we will not be with our book, but you can go back and look at all my other shows and you'll see our book as we talk about getting older without getting old. That's what we're all about. And a motivation. We motivate one another. We talk about retirement. Retirement is a summation of your work, but retirement is not your life. We're getting people to understand that when you retire, you still have life. You have at least 20, 30 years ahead of you. I retired at age 52. I'm 82 now. So I mean, I've had 30 years to be out here and doing some things and making things happen. And that's what I like. I like to share the things that happen to me. Of course, I wouldn't want you to have the three cancers, and I want you to have all your teeth. I want you to have your good sight in your eye. I want you maybe have some hair on your head. You don't have to maybe wear something. I don't know. Or you don't mind being bald. It's up to you. But right now, I just want you to know that the slice of life I feel like my slice of life is to talk to you about things that happen to me because I don't want them to happen to you. I don't want them to happen to you. And whatever's happened to me, I want to share it in terms of as examples or as experience so that you would say, I don't know, Georgianne did that already. I don't have to do that anymore. If we found some papers in the thrift store. I love the thrift store and the dollar store. Anyway, what we talked about from the thrift store, these papers of Discover, Plan, and Act. And we talked about discovering what matters the most to you. And when you go to a funeral, like I went to a funeral today, you have to think about all of us are going to be on that cooling board at some point. All of us are going to be somebody's going to be saying a few words over us. All of us are going to be somewhere. This particular person was a veteran. It just brought tears to my eyes. To see the folding of the flag because I just remember my dad was a veteran. But all of us. And so until we get there, God has sent us here to do some work. And he, we got some work to do. We got a purpose. We're supposed to meet somebody, do something, help somebody. And a lot of people just die without even knowing anything. They don't have their purpose. They don't meet the people they're supposed to do. They don't follow God's plan. They don't hear the voice that talks to them. All of that happens. And sometimes it happens to you. And then you wake up and say, wait a minute now, wait a minute. I think I thank you, Lord, for letting me stay here to come to my senses to know that I'm supposed to be doing something else. And so the first thing we did was talk about discovery, and today we're talking about planning because it says clearly, let me just show you, we talked about discover. You see that? And now we're at the second part of the pyramid, which is plan. And as we talk about planning, I like what it says here. It says, now that you have discovered what matters most to you, you're ready to plan what matters most. I like the theme that they've taken. Now that you discovered what is most important to you, now let's plan for the most important to you. And let's plan for the matters that matters the most to you. That's right. And so how will you have, do, and be all those things that we've been talking about? Remember we talked about have, do, and be? Myron Golden talks about have, do, and be, but he relates it to Genesis, and I'm just relating it to this paper. We talked about the have, how to have it, with how you're going to do it, and how you're going to be it, all of that. And so you got to plan that. It's a plan. Now, God has told you some stuff to do. That much I know. I'm going to tell you why. I was talking with a minister after church, after the repast. And I don't know, she said, I'm thinking about going back to school. And she said, I'm thinking about getting a doctorate degree. I'm thinking about doing something online. I know she kept talking to me and talking to me. And as she was talking to me, the Spirit was also talking to me. And I said, I tell you what, I think you should go. And I asked Evelyn, what is the, she's a minister. She has a MDiv. And I said, you should get a DMin. And I said, I asked my daughter, so what's the name of the college over here? And she gave me the name of the college. As soon as I said you should go to that school, do you know she had just gone to that school to think about it and gotten some information on it? She said, oh my God, how did you know that? I'm telling you, God sends, see, if nothing else, I'm going to repeat what he says to me, to you. And I'm going to repeat if he says something and you're going to go, wow. She went, wow, I can't believe you said that school. And I said, I can't believe I said it, but I asked my daughter what was the name of the school that she could do that around here. And she gave me the name of the school. She said, I'm gonna do that. And then she said something about some project she was working on at a school. And I said, well, you know, that ought to be the title of your dissertation or your project. I think they do I think the D men, they work with the community for their product or their project. At the end, I don't think they write a dissertation. It's a big paper, but I think it's in association with a work that you do in the community. And I said, this would be a good community project. And she said, you know what? I was just thinking about that. I'm telling you, you know, let me tell you something. When you go along with God's plan, it was no coincidence that I was at the funeral, I was at the repast. I was guided to speak to this particular woman who is particularly friends with my daughter and her husband. And we just, and at the end, when everybody was gone, we were still hanging around the cake table. Yes, I said it, cake table. And I'm just showing you how God had, see, I'm talking about the God's plan right now. See, we're still talking about this right here. We're still talking about plan, but I was talking about how that. She said, I gotta have your number. She said, I gotta have your telephone number. She said, I'm just gonna call you mama. She said, cause you're prophetic. I said, I know that. I know God has told me things that I've just walked up to people, the strangers, and said things that have just come out of my mouth. And I don't know why I said them. And it's all part of his plan. So we have to talk about his plans in connection to your plans. See, some of you all got some plans, but some of you all got some God plans that you are not acting on. You got some God plans that you're not acting on. See, it says right here, now that you have discovered what matters most to you, you are ready to plan what matters most. God has given you some plans that matter most, and that matter most to him. You got to connect with some people, just like I connected with her in passing. So you know, see, this is the thing. I have decided, it has come to me that, I look back over my life and think about some people that I knew. I only had to meet those people for a few minutes because I had to give them a message. I think about the messages and the things that I had to do, that did something to lift up God's people. I had to do them and I had to get zero credit for it. I look back on it now. I used to be upset. And just upset with God for I'm like, you always got me out here doing something, and then people walk away and kick me in the face and act like they did this on their own, and they get lifted up and they're out with their chest. No. I just had a whole thing going with him, and I came to my crazy sense. Myron Golden, and Myron Golden helped me come to my senses. He did. He helped me come to my senses. I had to come to my senses. Okay? I had to listen to some folk. What's the name down there in the Bahamas that got killed? I had to come to my senses. What am I talking about? What kind of glory am I trying to get? Who am I to want some kind of glory? Oh my God. I cannot want glory. The glory is not for me. God gets all the glory. I am to do his will, lift up his people, and go on by my business. and get that. That took some growth on my part. That took some growth on my part. Do you hear me? And so now, if he tell me to go over there and talk to, I look back on the people. They soared to the top. I sat on the side of the road, and people saw me sitting on the side of the road, and they said, "She's sitting on the side of the road. Let's kick her some more." And I really thought sitting on the side of the road was a bad place to sit. And now I'm grateful to sit on the side of the road because I did what he told me to do for that person, to lift them up. And what he'll do, because he needed them to do something for somebody else. And they didn't know that they were supposed to be lifted up. And so he said, you got to lift up my people, Georgianne. You got to do this. You got to do this because I sent you on earth. You raised your hand and said you don't mind doing the work for me. So get on out there and do the work. And so when we talk about planning, he got some plans for you. He got some plans on what matters most. And you know he's giving you those plans. And everybody got a Georgianne somewhere. And there's somebody talking to you on the other side of the screen, and you're not listening to them. It's somebody talking to you on the other side of the screen, and you're not listening to them. Reno, I'm saying it again for the people in the back. It's somebody talking to you on the other side of the screen, and you're not listening to them, that are telling you the plan. Because there's a plan on all our lives. There's a plan. And I am so glad that I'm okay. I'm so glad I'm okay. Now, I wasn't always okay. I wasn't always okay, but I'm okay. And I got my daughter to thank for some of that. She said, "Oh, Mama, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. You just do what God asks you to do. Just help the people. Just lift the people up. Just give them the paper they need. Give them the lesson they need. Give them the vocabulary they need. Give them the book they need. Give them to write it up for them. Do it. And give it to them. I don't charge anybody anything. I just give folks stuff. And he will take care of you. You don't worry about that. He got you. And the same way with you all over there, he got plans for you. You got plans. So the plan said, what else they say? How will you have, do, and be all the things that you want? That you got to have a plan. This is where you turn your mission statement you're going to write for yourself, your role, information, all that's got to be some kind of plan, some kind of achievable goals you have to set for yourself. You got to have a plan. You just can't be out here, you're just out here just flipping and flopping like a fish out of water. You got to sit down with some goals. You got to sit down and think about where you're going. You got to make up your mind that this is what I'm gonna do. You got to plan what matters most. Now you've already discovered what mattered most because we did that on Friday, and you had all weekend to do it again Monday. Today is Tuesday. So if you're still discovering, that's okay. Because we don't have a timeline now. No. I don't have a timeline for you because I need for you to understand what you're doing before you go to the next step. Have you ever gone to the next step? Oh, I know what I'm doing, and the small print. Big print will give it to you. Have you heard that before? The late Larry Vaughn, City of Atlanta, used to say, Georgianne, big print. You know how they write across big print? Be in 14 font and 28 font. Big. And then when you get down to the bottom of the print, it'd be a little bit writing, like a little bit writing across the bottom. And a little bit writing said, if you believe all that up there, then you're going to get shot on Monday. And you don't see that. Big print will give it to you. But Larry Vaughn used to say, may God rest his soul. Small print will take it away. Big print will give it to you. Small print will take it away. And so, what am I saying? What is Georgianne saying? I'm saying on this Tuesday, you got to plan what matters the most. But in the planning, listen to me. You gotta have an ear. An ear. What's talking to you? What's going on up here? We all know. Y'all like I got on my good St. John today. I had to go to a funeral. Put on a good St. John. And I say it because everybody who know me know what I got, one of them. Maybe two. Anyway. Whoo. What goes on here takes care of what goes on here. What goes on here takes care of what goes on out there. What goes on here takes care of what comes in your pocketbook. What goes on here takes care of what goes when you go to the doctor. I told you about that. It's all about the plan. It's all about what goes on here. So when you make those plans, be clear. Be clear now. Be clear. Be clear. Make sure you're on God's plan. Make sure you follow God's plan. Make sure you have sat down and studied that thing. Study it now. Study so when you won't be tripped up. Have you ever just planned something and it just fell apart? You know why it fell apart? You know why? Did you talk to God about it first? You said, I'm just going to go on and do this. I can do this. No. No. See, this paper right here. See, it don't have plan. It don't have no God up in there. This is a business plan. This is all about, but I'm giving you that little extra something. Planning what matters most and planning it with God in mind. Okay? So we're going to we have discovered what matters most. And now we're going to plan what matters most. And we're going to plan it with God in mind. And we're going to plan it with some goals and some plans after we talk to God about it, after we sit down and study this thing. You got to study. Now, they got people just get in the car. Back in the day, you used to get in the car and kind of guess where you're going. And thank God you got there. Now they got GPS. Did y'all know that was a black woman? They never talk about GPS. Was a black woman came up with that. The same way we came up with most things that we use today. Black people came up with all that. Anyway, I digress. Okay, it says, as you write down what it would take to make each goal happen, number your task under the, let me see. Oh yeah, you had to talk about sometimes how much money is it going to take to get some of your plans going. Now, if it's going to take some money, you got to get a budget. So while we're planning, and while we're planning, there's a business side. That's why I want to make sure I get that in. There's a business side. Now, you planning this thing. It's going to cost some money. And then where's that money coming from? And how you going to get that money? All right? You got to look at the big, broad picture of the plan. Do not try to execute it until you got everything. Ask yourself every question you can about where you're trying to go. What matters the most to you? And if that matters the most to you, then you got to plan how are you going to get that matters the most to you. And that is anything. We're not talking about just some of you youngins will be talking about a job, a career, but a person, a thing, a place. What matters the most to you? You say, I always wanted a house. Okay. Then you know what you got to do. You got to find out a whole bunch of stuff about a house. You say, I want a house. See, people don't remember that house come with light, gas, water, phone, maintenance. Okay? Then if you got a homeowners association, then all that goes into it. Then, protection and security. Then fire protection. Then, water protection. All, it's a lot going on. Paying the mortgage. Do you have enough money every month to pay the mortgage? If this goes, do you have that money when this goes wrong? Do you have the credit to get the house? How many, who gonna live in the house with you? It's a lot that goes on about getting the house. That's the plan. You have to stop and plan your way to a house. You see? That's just an example. But it's a plan. And then you got to see if that's the plan, the house that God wants you to have. It's a house sitting east, west, north, or south. See, all that make a difference now. I know you don't think so. Which way is the house facing? Mm-hmm. Just some of y'all just go, oh, that look good. I just take that. How you got? What kind? Oh, Lord have mercy. Help me, Jesus. So we're gonna plan. Tomorrow we're gonna look at some different parts of the plan. But today we're gonna end with planning. Plan what matters the most after you discovered what matters the most. And in all of the discovery and all of the planning, where do you go from there? You ask God, I love you. And you can't do anything about it.